pull the chat up so I can catch up. So it's been a little boring all day. My mom has had a series of appointments because she's leaving tomorrow. She's going out of town. So today we're just running errands. Actually, this whole week. So today, once I got home, it was a little slow, and then it started raining. So this afternoon has been extremely boring. So I figured I would come on and just see how you guys are doing. Hey, how are you? Kind of give you a little bit of an update of what's not happening or what's going on. I am okay. I'm doing all right. Hi, Margaret. Uh, I Sonia, what are your plans for the summer? Are you going to be doing some traveling this summer? I know, Margaret, are you making plans for this summer? Has anybody got anything like solid, concrete down where they know what they're going to be doing this summer? I'm trying to pull it up on the chat so I can keep up with it on my iPad. I guess it'll come up in a second. Um, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do some traveling this summer. Do you have any place mapped out, like any idea of where you want to be? Hey, Doc. This thing here, it shakes. And the wind has been blowing like crazy today, like violently shaking the camper. And all you hear is this. So, um, so that's kind of what we were talking about, trying to figure out what our summer is going to look like. Everybody knows that usually we work every summer, and that's what I wanted to do, Sonia. I kind of wanted to take the summer off and kind of just do some traveling around. And I had 3 states in mind that I really wanted to just like linger around and really, really get a chance to explore them. So I wanted to do Utah, I wanted to do Nevada, and I wanted to do some of California. Okay, so I might need to fix my RV. I haven't bought it yet. The inspection. Oh man, it went away before I could get it. Okay, here we go. Give me 2 seconds, and I'm gonna pull it up on my iPad. If I found the live. All right. So here we go, and I want to join. It always happens. Um, well, I know that Cedric has started kind of cleaning up outside and trying to make sure that he. Oh, I saw yesterday he opened the tent, and he's been working on trying to clear our tanks and everything. And so I've been working on my part as far as like finish getting the things that I want to have inside the house to get it kind of outfitted for hopefully doing some traveling. Right now, things are not looking really good, but I'm like really hopeful. I'm like holding out to the last minute. I don't know why this thing always gives me the blues. Whenever I go live and I want to be on the live and see, it never lets me join. I don't understand it. So he was kind of cleaning things out, and we've started our purge of like, we don't need this. We're gonna get this. We don't need that. So we took our little annual trip to IKEA Sunday to be able to see what they had coming out and some of the must-haves we wanted to have for the camper, and some things that just kind of give it a little bit of a homely feel to match the paint job that we did. And so we didn't get a whole lot. Like, see, I got the pillows, right? I got these from Hobby Lobby, but I went and got the black pillows. I'll give you guys a little bit of a little walk around to just show you some of this stuff I did. I got Noodle and Pepper, a little clubhouse, and it's really a stand that you put kids' toys in, but they fit perfect in it. And I will show you that. I'm gonna buy some racks that go in the bathroom because we don't have any place to put towels. So I want to get the towel. There was a towel rack I saw. I want to go back and get that. And then in the hallway, I want to be able to put some pictures up. So I'm gonna turn my hallway into like a gallery of places we visited, and it'll just be pictures of us and all the places we've been and with the dogs. So I have a few last minute things that I want to do, but as of right now, where we're going and what our plans are are really, really up in the air. Um, um, so I'm not quite sure, but I'm gonna go ahead on and show you guys what I've done thus far in the camper. I have my gimbal on the charger, so hopefully it won't act all wonky in the middle of this. Oh, wait a minute, it's on the charger. I might be able to move the whole thing, like the thing and all. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this around so you guys can kind of see. All right, so this is Noodle and Pepper's little clubhouse, and they usually go in there. Pepper, she can go off of the Okay, okay. I'll tell you in a second. She if I turn this towards the couch, she can go from the couch into it, and Noodle goes to the bottom. But as you can see right now, they're both just underneath the table. And I got this rack that we put on the wall, and hung my little plant. And I got some towels. I got my coffee grinder, and some coffee mugs. So this itself is new, and I really, really love it. And I'm gonna get two of these and put them in the bathroom, and that'll be my bathroom rack. And like I said, I got the pillows, so it kind of bring the couch together as far as that's concerned. Um, I didn't do a whole lot in here. Like I just kind of switched things around a little bit, and I got my can to put my little serving utensils and stir dishes in there. I'm going to get me a new pot for my plant. So, just little stuff like that. In my room, I made some other changes. I'll show you that once I'm completely done. I'm not completely done in the room yet. But yeah, we just got the pillows, and then we just got the table, and we got the dogs, their little hideout there, just because it's easier to put them in there than to have their cages in here. Well, I don't like to call them their cages. I just call them their rooms. So it's really easier to have that, and it's not in the way. Thank you. They are sweet, sweet, sweet little baby boy and baby girl. It's time for them to get their annual cut, with Noodles cut, because he does this thing and he mats up down his legs and everything. So it's time for him to go to the groomer and get shaved and cut and washed, and both of them. And usually before we leave an area, I usually normally get them groomed so they'll be ready to go for on the road. And last time when we were in Maine, I had to do that because as soon as we got there, he got a tick right on his forehead. He just put his face down in the grass, and when he looked up, he had a black dot. It was a tick, and it was trying to barrel in, and we had to keep him cut really low till we can get him treated and all that good stuff. So, as the season starts coming up, we'll probably get them both something to where we don't have to, stress too much about the tick factor. Okay, so getting over to what everybody is anxious to know, are we going to work this summer or are we going to travel? And to be honest, everything is really up in the air. We don't have the money to get up to Maine, and we don't have the money to travel all summer. So the goal was to just see what we could do, get everything we need set up here, so when we leave here, we're set. I still do not know what our final plans are. I know what I want to do, but I don't know yet what we're going to do. And we have 2 weeks to figure it out. Because if Maine is where we end up, and I'm gonna just be honest with y'all, I am not excited about that, not even a pinky little bit at all. Like I'm not excited about that. But if that's the direction we end up having to go, I would be going under duress, and we start April 1st. So we have 2 weeks to figure out. We're gonna take this summer off, and we're gonna figure it out as we go. There we had a job there last year in Maine at a campground, and we were working like 40, 50 hours a week, and it's a big campground, which means it's a very busy campground with locals. So it's not a transient campground. Like some campgrounds, there's a lot of people that come overnight, and you always have different people filtering in, and a lot of people passing through and coming there. Well, this is more of like a destination campground, and a lot of the locals come there. So yes, it is 40, 50 hours. I was working 40, 50 hours a week. And the only day I had off was Sabbath. So we didn't get a chance to like go and see anything and do anything. And when we did, it had to be like really, really close. It was not fun. It was not fun, Doc. I could tell you that. I was so miserable by the time camp was over. I could not wait. Um, I could not wait. It was like I couldn't wait till I could sleep in because I would get up at 6 every day and then have my worship, get dressed, and get to work. And I would be at work like 7:45, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And if somebody was like sick or couldn't come in or whatever, I would stay till closing. So some days I worked 8 to 8, and it was a day where we were like constantly going all day long. There was no sitting down, there was no chairs, there was no break. You were just constantly moving from the time you got in till you left. And so the campground itself, if you're a visitor, is fun. But if you're working, your responsibility is the campground. And they you remember they rented golf carts, and you'd have trouble with people taking other people's golf carts in the middle of the night. It was just a lot of work. And then you have people who were coming there who it was a bigger volume of work than what they were used to, and they would either leave, they were like, we're not going to stay, we're leaving, or they would complain the whole time, right? It's like, oh, this is a lot of work, I'm used to smaller places, it's too fast paced. And it was just a lot. It was just a lot. So it didn't leave any time for you to have a summer. You were busy working to make sure other people had a summer. And so this summer, I would like to be a camper. Like, I'd like to be a person that's stopping in for a few days and kind of touring around and then keep going to the next space. And it's not that I don't know how to do that. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was in the city. You know, it was one of those places that was in the city. Like it's in Maine, but you're like 30, 40 minutes away from the coast, and it was kind of like in New Hampshire. I mean Rochester, New Hampshire. So it was a campground within the city limits, like in the city. And so you had a lot of local people that would come, and that would be their destination. That would be where they stayed and campground. And I met some wonderful people while I was there. It's just that this summer I would like to do something else other than just working every single day, because I would get off Friday, and you guys, you remember when Friday I would be doing Bible study Friday night, right? And we do a live, and then the next day I was at church, and then Sunday was like my day to wash clothes and get food prepared for the week, and then right back at work on Monday. So and then you worked really long hours. This year I'm feeling a little bit of the burnt out, so I'm not quite sure what our plans are, but I know in 2 weeks we need to have a plan set in place. um I did, and I've been looking at other campgrounds, but none of them are really paying what that one pays. And lately, because of all this stuff going on with our economy, people are not wanting to pay work campers anymore, right? They want to trade work for sight. They want you to come and pretty much work for free, and you just get a free site. And I still feel like my time is worth something, right? I don't want to come there and I make no money whatsoever, and I'm just getting a free place to stay. When the time comes for you to leave, you haven't made one red cent. So a lot of these, and I've been looking at them like religiously every single day, they're offering work for sight, work for sight, work for sight. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Or they're lowballing you at $10 an hour or $14 an hour. And I just can't do that. If I had to pick one, something like that, I'd rather not work at all. I'd rather boondock pretty much all the summer. I really wish I can get my money back from Thousand Trails. I paid for that membership for the year, and we've only used it twice. And so we have that as an option to be able to use. I guess I could rekindle our harvest hosts. We did have that once upon a time, but I let it expire. So there are ways of doing this without it being a financial burden on you. You just have to have a way to like maintain, even if it's just a small income, to be able to keep moving around, to do that. So I have been really like brainstorming, trying to come up with some ways, and like, Lord, what do you want me to do this summer? Because wherever you send me, you'll provide for us to get there or be there or whatever. So I've been praying that, and I've been doing what I can, like going to work and whatnot, and saving what I can, depending on wherever direction we decide to go in, and just trying to get the house ready. So this summer we don't have to do anything, we don't have to buy anything, we don't have to, just fix little stuff as it comes up. That's the goal. And so right now it's just trying to figure it all out. I would like over this summer to come up with some kind of exercise regimen. I feel myself slipping into some, maybe right now, seasonal depression, but I feel like I need to have some kind of outlet where at least every day I'm either going to the Y or going and walking, or maybe picking up some kind of weights or something that I could do outside in the sunshine and breathe some fresh air or something, because right now my day is pretty much Instacart from sun up to sundown. Today I just did not feel like working. I don't like driving in the rain. Everybody's driving crazy and speeding around you, and I don't like, I'm just not a fan of the rain. My truck spent out of control one time on me, and it was raining, and I'm just not a fan of driving in the rain. So you're gonna have to stay tuned to find out what my plans are going to be looking like for this summer. It's going to be a shock to me just as much as it's going to be a shock to you. And so, like I said, if I had my way, those three states we would be traveling to, and then just exploring those for all 3 months. It would be Utah, Nevada, and California. So there's so much to see within those, and we probably just zigzag all the way down through there, and that's where that would be what I would like to do. But I just don't know yet. Now I got 6 of you guys watching. I would love to have 6 thumbs up. And another, on a brighter note, right now, you guys, as far as watch time is concerned, we are 350 hours away from 4,000 watch time hours, and I am so ecstatic about that. Um, Lately, I haven't, got a chance to get out and get any videos done because I was trying to work as much as I could. But hopefully this week, I'm going to try to get out to a campground or something and do some kind of video for you guys. I just really need to get, and 350 watch time hours is nothing, especially when you have to come up with 4,000. So we're 350 away. So I've been putting it on all the TVs. When I'm not watching TV, I just put it on and let it play on my iPad, on my phone, on the television when I'm cleaning up. And I would love to have your support as far as that's concerned, of just watching a few videos every day, or just letting them play in the background. That would be awesome. And like I said, I'm still willing to honor the fact that if we hit that 4,000 mark, we're going to do a special live. And the first 20 people that comment inside of the live, I'm going to be able to give them a t-shirt that says, "You never know where I might end up." Yeah, so, and I know that people like those kind of videos, like with the campgrounds, just because if you're thinking about traveling someplace and you're like, "Oh, I wonder what it looks like there, or what the sites look like, or what they have," it's just good information. And I've had people tell me, when I do the videos of the different campgrounds we worked at, they said, "We saw your video when we were looking to see what the campground looked like." So I said, "Okay, well, I'll just keep doing it." Especially when we're on the road, I usually try to get out and do a walkthrough of each campground we stop at, and just kind of show you where it is, what it is, how much it is, what the amenities are, and if you are traveling that way, whether it's worth stopping, or whether, the good, the bad, the ugly. So I like doing those, especially when we're moving around and we're traveling and going on. That kind of gives you guys a little bit of tips on helping to plan as well. I want to encourage you guys to go on over to our Patreon page. I post there regularly. Every was it Thursday, I have a blog post coming out. I've been posting recipes every single week, and I if you become a member, you get access to books for free. Um, Yes, I do. You get both of my books for free, and some. I'm adding some other stuff over there, so I'm pretty active on our Patreon page. So go over there, check it out. You can sign up for free, or you can sign up to be a part of the crew and whatever. Just go over there for just for the even if it's just for the information. Um, yes. Now, for my newbies, one of the things I want to tell you, and this is one of the things I talked about in my book, and I went over all my first year experiences and the things I learned coming out the gate with no plan other than heading west. You know, have a plan. You know, especially when you're going. When we left, we were winging it. The only plan we had was we were heading west. We were heading towards California. And we didn't realize the importance of having at least an idea of where you're going to be when the nighttime hit, because we didn't plan that far ahead. Um, Also, if you are getting started, make yourself a checklist so you don't forget to turn certain things off or turn certain things on. Just have a checklist and just go down it and make sure you're hitting all the points until you got it up here and you don't have to worry about it anymore. And if you just have some questions off the rip, let me know and I'll answer them. I mean, I don't mind. I'm an open book. I've been doing this now. This year makes 4 years. And so there's a lot to learn as far as just what you don't know. But once you have it, you got it. So if you have any questions, Sonia, just ask. If you have something, I'll answer it right now. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop it in the chat and then I'll address it for you. Um, One of the things I stopped doing was before you leave, I don't stock my fridge anymore. I used to buy all this food and everything and stock the fridge. What I'll do is I'll kind of meal prep. If I know we're going to be traveling for the next 3 days, I make stuff like pasta salad, and I buy stuff to make sandwiches and water and drink, and we're big coffee drinkers, so I make sure we have creamer and stuff like that. Because sometimes you stop at the gas station, these Loves, and they just don't have the creamer you want. I hate French vanilla, so I don't want French vanilla creamer. So I make sure we have creamer. I just do stuff like that. Which after buying your RV, what should you do first? Okay, once we got it, what we did was we took it to the local state park where we live, and we spent the weekend in it, and we just familiarized ourselves with everything, with the French vanilla. Oh, girl, I just threw up a little bit when I read your message. I would like sweet cream, and I'll take the caramel macchiato or the southern pecan. I I'd rather not even drink coffee if it's French vanilla. I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna just throw that out there. But back to your question. Um, Take it out for the weekend, right? That way you could practice backing it up. You could practice with a checklist of just pick a spot you're interested in and you go, can't do nothing wrong. Okay, yeah. So just state park, find a place that you like, practice backing up, practice hooking, unhooking, practice dumping, learning how to use the sewer and the sewer hose, coming up with a little rhythm. I made some checklists and it's on my Patreon page. So if you want a checklist to kind of help guide you through, you can go over there and download one of the checklists. It's over there and just go through it, familiarize yourself with it. And so just hey, I'm going to figure out how this thing works. I just learned how to use the oven in this camper. Cuz the first camper we had, we didn't have an oven. The second camper, the way we like this oven, you couldn't do it that way. You had to get in the oven with the lighter stick, hold down the button for the fuel to get to the line, and then do it. And I just refused to do that because I could just see myself burning off my eyebrows, so I wouldn't do it. And so anytime I wanted to use the oven, Cedric had to light it. This one, I learned how to use it, so I know how to use the oven. So familiarize yourself. Yes, this is my home, Sonia. I live in it. I cook here. I cook here. I make some cooking video. I stopped doing cooking videos, but I guess I could start back. And I am missing all the chat conversations because I'm on my phone. And as soon as I get a chance to see it, it goes away. And it's such a bummer. Let me see if I could pull this up live on my iPad, because I want to make sure I'm getting your questions and I'm answering what you're asking me. And it's just not letting me join. It's not letting me bring it up. Like I can see it. See, look. It shows me it's right here. And when I touch it, nothing. Nothing. Okay, so here, I'll try again. And so I used to do some cooking videos, but yes, I cook in here. I make, like I said, when we're traveling, I make pasta salad. I put it in a bowl, I stick it in the fridge. I'm gonna tell you the most common mistake I make, and I still make every now and then. I'm obsessed with making this work. Um, is turning the fridge off. Okay, so when we travel, Cedric turns the propane off because our fridge can run on electric and propane. So he'll turn the propane off, but sometimes I'll forget to come in here and turn off the stove, the fridge. And if you do not, hold on one second, you might have to say that one more time for me because I missed it. If you do not turn it off, it'll still run as though it'll keep, the light will flicker as if it's still trying to get the electric. If you don't turn the gas off, you'll be riding down the street and your fridge, mine automatically switches over to the propane. I don't recommend riding down the road with your propane open. Turn it off, make sure everything's off. Turn off your fridge. If you have a heated tank, make sure you turn that off. You don't want to burn out the element in your heated tank because it's going to keep trying to fire and keep trying to warm up. Don't travel with full tanks. Get water when you get where you're going, stuff like that. You want to keep it as light as possible. I'm not quite sure if you're pulling a travel trailer or if you are driving a motorhome or a Class A. That's a little something different. But we have the travel trailer, so you want to be as light as possible. So we make sure we dump our tanks. We don't fill them up with water before we leave. Usually if we're gonna boondock, we fill it up close to where we're going, so we have the water there, stuff like that. And so as you go and you get yourself acquainted with your camper, you'll know all the do's and don'ts. And like I said, checklists are valuable where you can look at it and say, hey, did I turn off the AC? Did I turn off the heater? Did I turn off the hot water tanks? Did I turn off the refrigerator? Is all the knobs off on the stove? Did I turn off the hot water tank that's going to be trying to keep heating hot water? Stuff like that. Hey, did I make sure all the knobs are off in the camper for the water, so when you get to your next place and you hook up your water, it doesn't come spraying out and you didn't even know it was on? So making a checklist and just kind of keeping up with it. Spending a weekend at a state park always helps. And so I hope that answered your question, Sonia. Okay, so we travel up to 4 hours away, which is different than 4 hours a day, because 4 hours a day can be 6 hours for us. Like, so we go 4 hours away, but it might take us longer than 4 hours to go 4 hours away because we stop, we walk the dogs, we get out, you use the bathroom, so on and so forth. So when I make food, I know that as long as the fridge is closed, it'll stay cool, right? So we're not traveling days and days and days with the fridge not being plugged up. A lot of times, you get to the RV park and then you plug in, you could turn all that stuff on. I just don't buy stuff that I know that's going to either melt or go bad if it's not in there. Now, some people buy dry ice and they will put it in the fridge to kind of keep things cool. But I usually make some stuff, like I'll get some sandwich meat. I know that'll be okay in the fridge. As long as it stays closed, it'll keep it cool and it won't go bad. I don't usually buy groceries till I know we're at our destination and we're gonna be there for a little bit. So like say we're headed towards New Mexico and we're leaving here out of Ohio. New Mexico is our actual destination. I know we're gonna stop along the way, but we're just stopping overnight or maybe a day or two. I'm not gonna go and buy groceries every single time we stop. I'm gonna wait till we get to New Mexico. So what I'll do before we leave here is make pasta salad, buy sandwich meat, get some chips, some muffins, because like, we like to have muffins in the morning with coffee or something like that. You know, try to minimize buying stuff and patronizing all these little convenience stores that are overpriced where chips are like $4 a bag. I just get little non-perishable stuff that we could snack on or have, and then maybe for dinner we might get something for dinner. So that way we're not eating out every single meal, you know. And then when you get to where you're going and hey, we're going to be in New Mexico for 2 weeks, I'll go over to Walmart and I'll get enough stuff to last us for the 2 weeks. And then when we get ready to leave, we're down again, and then we go ahead on and travel to wherever we're going to go next. So you can kind of just plan ahead and meal prep plan and then buy accordingly. It's like taking a road trip with your parents where they got the cooler and they bought the chips and the drinks and all this stuff, and then you stop to a park and you eat and all that kind of stuff. And then when you get where you're going, you like actually begin your vacation. So that's how we travel, and it helps us to save money. You know, the only thing that we really buy is coffee because Cedric drinks a lot of coffee. I don't, I get a cup in the morning and maybe one later on in the afternoon, but I prefer tea when it comes in the afternoon. But we stop a lot because we get up and we leave pretty early. So whenever we know we're getting ready to go a very long distance, we try to leave about 8, no later than 9 o'clock, because we're going to ride to about 3. And then we start looking for a place to stay, and then we're hunkered down by 4:30, 5 o'clock. You know, because you want to relax and you want to actually like enjoy not moving and doing anything so you can get up the next day and start your journey again till you get where you're going. So I hope that helped you as far as that's concerned. It's just it's a lot of planning, but you can it's planning that you can still be spontaneous with if you plan correctly. Um, okay, so like this is how I do it. I have a few apps on my phone that I use. Like um, I'm on my phone. I use Campendium. I use my GPS. Like when you go in the little search bar, your GPS. When we get on the road, I'll use if I know the direction we're going and I know the direction and we're going XYZ, I'll look at the campgrounds along the way. I'll say, show me state parks along my route. And it'll show me places, and I'll call them or I'll look them up online, see if they have any spaces, see where they are. I always check to see how far they are from the expressway because on the map, you want to be parked. Yes, absolutely. On the map, they look like a dot away from the highway, but no, it's 10 miles from the highway. So I always want to make sure I'm finding something close to the highway so we can get on and get going. Now, with that being said, Love's now has an RV park at the gas station. Yeah, $35. It's kind of pricey for a gas station RV, but they do have electric. And so you can back in and hook up electric. I think they'd have a dump station too. So you can back in, hook up for $35 for the night and stay at the gas station. It's like actual RV spots. So sometimes we stay there, especially if we're like just say we get a late start. So we say, okay, we didn't get up. Um, and get the app, Sonia. Get the Love's app, and it will say it on the app at the bottom. RV stops, and you can put in your route or where what state you want to look at, and it'll pull up all the Love gas stations that have an RV park there, and you can book it ahead of time too. And then when you get there, you put in a little code, and then it'll unlock the box that your electricity goes. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's really genius. It's smart, and you don't really need anybody to man it, and that's the genius part about it. But like say we get a late start. You never heard of Love's? It's a gas station. A lot of truckers use it. It's, I'm sure Okay, so it's like Pilot. Have you ever heard of Pilot, the gas station Pilot? When you're traveling up and down the highway, truckers use it. You know, a lot of people stop at the Love's gas station, the Pilot gas station. Yeah, they may not have one that far up, but get the app anyway. If you get the app, it'll give you 10 cents off your gas. If you like coffee, after 4 cups you get a free one. And they have the map that tells you about places that you can stop and stay. So it's worth getting, especially if you're getting ready to head out this summer. Love's is everywhere. So you want to get it and have it. I was going to tell you something and then I forgot. I got old brain. Okay, so I'll search along the way and I'll look. Okay, that's what I was saying. If like say if you are get a late start. So say we're tired. We've been traveling for 2 days and getting up at 7:30 and trying to get packed up and ready to go and leaving by 8, 9 just didn't happen. So we pulling out, it's 10:30, and we're like, we got to get some miles up under us, and we're going to keep going till about 5, and then we start getting tired of getting dark. That's when we use the Loves. We'll stop for the night at the Loves. It's right there off the expressway. We can grab a cup of coffee in the inside, gas up, and get right back on the expressway and go. So it is really convenient. Now, the state parks, you can look up state parks. Don't forget about the Army Corps engineers. They have us parks as well. That's fairly cheap. Know that campgrounds and RV parks are two different things, right? RV parks are usually where people stay long term. Campgrounds are usually where people are there for a couple of hours and then they keep moving. Sonia, you got to get my book, girl, because I got all that information in there. The second one that says, is RVing right for me? Right? So you got to, in there, I go and break down about all the different parts in there. Um, the Army Corps of Engineers is it's like the people that run the dams. Have you ever been to a place and it's like the Army Corps engineers? They're the ones that release the water for the dam. Well, a lot of them have RV parks there where you can go and stay in an RV space in a park. Now, they very rarely have dumping stations. There may be like one dumping station, but it may not be like a dump at your site. But they have water and electric, and they're fairly reasonable. They're not everywhere. That they're not as numerous as campgrounds and KOAs and Thousand Trails and private campgrounds are in state parks, but they are out there, and you can go online and check them out as well. If you're military, or you know somebody's military. When I had my special guest, Kirsten, on here, they're military. They stay at a lot of the military-based campgrounds, and it's only like $13 a night, $14 a night, $20 a night. So you can afford to stay there long term because it's only 15, couple bucks. New Mexico's $14 a night, and you get water and electric. So that's where people go and they stay. You can stay for a little while. They still have the 14-day limit, but you can afford to stay versus someplace that's $70, $80 a night, because that is a thing. That is a 110% a thing. If you're going to any of the state parks, Sonia, or anybody who's watching this, people start booking those sites last year. So you need to get on that now. Start going and making sure that, and nowadays you got to not only make sure that your spot is open, but that the activities you want to do in the national parks, you have a reservation for it. Because a lot of the state parks in Utah make you have a reservation, or they do it by lottery. So you have to check all that stuff out and make sure that wherever you're deciding to go, you can go. Now, I like the boondock. So when we get to Utah, there's boondocking places all over the place. You can pretty much stay for free. Some places do require you to have a reservation for hiking. I know that Arches, they have quite a few popular attractions, and to keep down too much foot traffic that kind of would ruin the attraction, they do it by lottery, and you have to have a ticket to be able to do it. When we went to Zion, they have a lot of hiking, but they work on a transit system. So you have to park your car and get on the state park, the national park transit that takes you around. So you're hiking on a time frame because at a certain time, those transits stop running, right? And so you want to make sure that you get out early. And then in those places, it gets really, really hot. So you don't want to be stuck out there in the middle of the day and it's 100-degree heat, with little ones trying to get back. And you want to pay attention to the weather because it gets slippery and wet. And like this year, if we are able to make it out there, I will most definitely be hiking the Narrows. I'm going to try to save up and get me a GoPro because I want to hike the Narrows. And that's in Zion National Park. But you got to pay attention to the rain, the weather report, because those rivers flood and you don't want to get stuck out there and it rain and then because the whole hike is in water, right? So if the water rises, you run the risk of drowning. So you want to pay attention to the weather and stuff like that. And before you go out there. So there's a lot of things that you have to do outside of RVing, just reservation wise. When we went to Yellowstone, that was amazing. That's an awesome place to stop. Grand Tetons, if you've never been, that needs to be the first stop on your list. They are amazing. You will absolutely love it. The view is amazing. Um, so yes, you want to go to the websites for the national park and then just check information, and just say, hey, uh, do I need this? What do I need for that? Which part did you need? The Grand Tetons. It's Teton, Grand Tetons, and it's in Wyoming. I've been there twice, and now that's a place I've been looking at trying to work this summer. I was looking at their jobs. They have some jobs, and you get a free site, and they pay very well, right? And so it's like $18 an hour, and you get your free site and all that good stuff. And I would not mind working at the Grand Teton National Park at their campground for the summer because the view, it cannot be beat. If you have been to the Grand Tetons, you know those majestic snow-capped mountains cannot be beat. It is just, the view is phenomenal. I can't say enough. That is some serious natural beauty that the Lord has made for us because it is absolutely gorgeous. Yellowstone is another place that's jaw dropping. You will absolutely love it. It's so massive, it extends in a few states. So you need time to like travel around just to see everything. So I'm saying all that to say this, just plan accordingly. If you know where you're headed or what you want to do, just go on the website. It's easy. You just go to the national park website and make sure that whatever you need in advance, you know what that is and get it so you can have it. When we went to Bryce, they I didn't see anybody have to have any kind of reservation to hike the hoodoos, and that was fun. I would love to do that if I get the opportunity to go back this year because that's in Utah. So Utah is one of my favorite places. Oregon is one of my favorite places. I would love to go there, but I don't know if we could make it that far over. But I'm not quite sure where you're headed to, Sonia, but wherever you're going, make sure that you just kind of do your due diligence and look ahead because people do book stuff a year in advance and you think you can just walk up there and get what you need, and that's not always true. So it would behoove anyone who's watching this video to just check the website now and make your plans, kind of rotate around that. No, they are not farm heavy areas. Absolutely not. I did a video of the Grand Tetons, and I will drop that in the comments below. And it'll kind of show you our little trip there. We went there twice. And we hiked 2 miles up in the Tetons. And that was amazing. And then in the middle of the Tetons is this beautiful waterfall. You absolutely love it. That's the problem. People, I mean, you got to get out to know what's out there. And the view is phenomenal. It is absolutely amazing. And then you do have those desert areas. Even that is breathtaking, right? And so when we go to Utah, we usually are in either Salt Lake City at Antelope Island, which is a state park, and they have an RV park there, and we stay there. or we go to St. George, and we usually boondock when we're there, or we stay in Snow Canyon, which is a state park there. And so they Utah has so many national parks there. You could probably spend your whole vacation in that one state and hit them all, and and see it. So don't sleep on those states. Every single one of them has something amazing that you just don't see in the Midwest and on the East Coast. So you will not be disappointed. I just want you to, if you know where you're wanting to go, or you have your plans already set, that you check the website and make sure you don't need anything before you get there, like sign up for something. Um, there are bears. There's bears, and they tell you to stick to the paths, and usually there's a lot of people out there with you because it's summer and everybody's doing the same thing. A lot of times, it's really hot in certain places, so the bears don't come out. When we were in South Lake Tahoe in California, we checked into our campsite and a bear walked right across the campground. Soon as we backed in, set up everything, the ranger stopped by and he was like, "Hey, I see you got a small dog. If you love them, leash them. Just watch out because there's coyotes and there's bears." And as soon as he said that and drove off, a bear came walking on the other side of the camper and walked right up by the door and kept walking. He was looking for food. It was getting ready to be wintertime because we were just leaving Oregon, and it was September, October. So he said a lot of times they're just looking for food. They're looking to feed because they're getting ready to go into hibernation. So a lot of times I do ask those questions, especially since now we have two small dogs. I always ask, what's the wildlife around here? And when you get into California, you get into the cougars and the bobcats and the coyotes and stuff like that, and bears. Some areas, some animals are natural to certain areas. Like when we went to Wyoming, they have bears, but we didn't see any. I was more so looking for the moose. They have these huge moose that show up early in the morning. Yes, we have bear spray too. Make sure you keep some bear spray. Good thing. You're smart, Margaret. Thanks for saying that. We get up early in the morning and they go to these watering holes and you see these huge moose. And then they have, deers like everywhere, the little antelopes. And then they have the bison, buffaloes, and stuff like that. And so you can always tell when an animal is around because people are stopping and taking pictures of it. Don't let that deter you. Educate yourself. Really, a lot of the national parks have rangers, and they kind of educate you about the area, the wildlife, and stick to the route. And a lot of the animals are aware that people are trekking through there. And so you never hike by yourself. You always let somebody know that you're going out, and you stick to the path. And then as it's getting dark, just don't be out there because that's when they probably start coming out. They're afraid of you like you're afraid of them. And a lot of times when they are out, it's because they're hungry. And they're not necessarily hungry to eat you, but at the same time, you don't want to put yourself in harm's way. So we've been hiking quite a few times. And there was a lot of people out. I only went hiking one time at night, one time. And that was with some crazy neighbors of mine. And, well, I'll give you some tips on that. And I put some tips in my book as well, as far as that is concerned. We went out astrophotography. We went out shoot the Milky Way, and so we had to hike to the area where we were going that night, and it was pitch black dark, and they had a bigger dog than I do, like a German Shepherd, and he was kind of with us. Um, Now I'm gonna give you my three tips for hiking alone. A, wherever you are, let somebody know that you're going, whether you're at a campground, a neighbor, or something. You go in there and you say, "Hey, I'm going to take this hiking trail. This is the name of it. This is the time I'm leaving. This is the site I'm in. I will come back in and check in when I'm back. But if I'm not back by XYZ time, just know I'm not here." You let somebody know that you're leaving so they won't be like, "Oh, I didn't even know she was gone." So you let somebody know that where you're going. and what trail you're going to be on. Two, don't hike a trail where nobody else is hiking. Just don't do it, because you don't know what you're going to run into or who you're going to run into back there. If you're going to do this by yourself, make sure you do it on a heavily traffic trail. Like, just pick a popular one and go. I don't recommend taking off on a trail you found by yourself going out in Timbuktu. Just don't do that. And the third one is, and Margaret said it, take some bear spray, take some pepper spray, or something to where you can be able to protect yourself enough to get to safety. And make sure that make sure you have your phone and you got water, and that you are doing the best you can to protect yourself. And that's from man and beast, right? So just be smart, follow your gut. If things don't feel right, don't go. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And then if you got a friend that they'll meet you out there, then go with a buddy. It's always better to be two or three. Always. But and I say that from experience, because I went out hiking by myself. I did a video about it too. It was called Hiking with My Guardian Angels, right? I went out hiking by myself because Cedric didn't want to go with me, and I wanted to get a video done, and I wanted to do this hiking trail, and it was just a mile. It was just a mile. And I was like, I could do a mile by myself. That's just 2 miles round trip. I could do it. So I drove maybe an hour and a half away from my house, and I got to the place, and not a soul was there when I got out of the car and started my hike. And I'm walking through there, and in the video, I'm like saying, there's nobody out here. There's nobody out here. And then this guy passes me with his dog, and he's leaving out. And I'm like, how far am I from the waterfall? He was like, oh, you're not that far. It's just a little up there. And then I start descending down, like I'm going down. And then my whole time in my mind, I'm thinking, I got to come back up. And I'm asthmatic, so I lose my breath really quickly. And I'm like, I got to come back up. And I'm up here by myself. So I'm meandering down, I get to the waterfall, and I'm all excited. And there's this couple down there with their daughter. And they're like, he asked me, you shouldn't be out here by yourself. I said, I know. My hiking buddy didn't want to come, and I just wanted to get out. And he was like, that's not good. You shouldn't be by yourself. And I said, I know. And then I sat down. I said, I'm going to give myself a few minutes to catch my breath. And then I'm going to get up and hike on out before these people. So at least I know that there's somebody coming behind me. If I get in trouble, that they're coming behind me and they're going to show up in a minute. And I didn't get very far. I got up and I got there and I started feeling lightheaded. Like, it was really hot. Even though it was in the trail, it was still humid. It was really hot, and it was middle of summer. And so I started getting hot and heating up. And I'm steady walking up. And I sat down and I start getting these little fuzzy spots in front of my face. And he comes up and he says, you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, no, you're not. And he's like, we're not going to leave you back here. We'll wait for you. We'll walk together. And they hike with me. They're feeling very lightheaded and just feeling really anxious, right? So I said, never again. I won't do that again. Because if nobody was back there, I've passed out on a trail before myself. And I'm like, I got so hot to where I was like, I'm going to faint. And I just fainted. So I know better. So you stay hydrated. Start drinking water maybe the day before. Just stay hydrated. Let somebody know where you're going and go with somebody. It was scary. It was very scary. I just get overheated. And a lot of times is I'm not prepared for the hike. Like, I'm already dehydrated, and I have the water, but I don't want to drink it because I don't want to have to go to the bathroom, and then I'm out here in the bushes trying to pee while people walking by. So I was like, you need to hydrate. And it was hot. It was too hot, and I had been sweating going up this hill, this steep hill, getting out of this waterfall, and I just started heating up, and I felt myself heating up. And they walked with me all the way out, and they were like, the Lord sent them to me. I'm telling you, because the whole while he kept saying, I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not gonna leave you. I'm gonna stay with you. We're gonna get out of here together. And they made sure I got back to my car, and they took a picture with me. And he was like, don't hike by yourself anymore back here in these woods. And I was like, yes, sir. I'm not doing that anymore. And so it's one of those things where you just have to use your best judgment. Now, do people hike solo by themselves? Yep, every single day. They do it all the time. But does that make it safe? Not all the time. And so you have to use your best judgment as far as that's concerned, and if it's a heavily hiked trail, like it's like Waterfall Loop in Oregon, where people are up and down those trails all day long, it's like, you can't throw a rock without hitting a person. Absolutely, hike that. Go by yourself. There's plenty of people taking that trail. I'm talking about these remote backwoods people where people tell you, oh, go down here. It's like 3 miles in, but it's a beautiful view when you get there, and then you get there and there's not a soul in the parking lot. That's what I'm talking about. Don't do those by yourself. Don't do those by yourself. And just, always follow your gut. I usually pray and then I follow my gut. And so I just pray that's Lord to go with us and protect us and guide us. And then I follow my gut. And if the neighbor looks weird, you don't have to stay because your house moves. Now, we haven't had that experience, so I'm grateful for that, but I'm just telling you because there are some times, people have given their stories on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen them. So you just want to make sure that you're doing the right thing and that you're being safe all the time, no matter what. Just don't take any chances. An adventure doesn't have to end up in your death or a horror story. So just be cautious. Um, any other questions anybody want to ask? I'm sorry I can't tell you what we're doing yet, and so I'm refusing to ask for help, especially since I've been called some pretty ugly names because of that. So, um, I love it. We travel in the desert. When you're crossing the desert, I've always wanted to spend a night in the middle of nowhere in the desert, out by. I saw a place. We were on our way to Death Valley in California, and I saw a couple in an RV in the way out in the middle of nowhere, sitting in some lawn chairs, enjoying themselves. I love it. And when you think you're out by yourself, you're really not. Somebody else is out there. Trust me. So, and we usually plan a route. There's a lot of art. When you get out there, you'll realize that the RV is a community. And as you start learning about different places, when you get there, you're very rarely the only person there, right? So there's always people there. They might be spread out, but there's people everywhere. I don't worry about that. I know somebody asked me, have I stumbled in on a sundown town? I had to kind of ask my mom about what that was because I've never had that experience. It's one, and for those who don't know, it's a town where black people are not very welcome after dark. Like you don't want to be roaming around, So, and they have places like that in Tennessee. I heard. No, I haven't. Usually we are hunkered down and we're in at a certain time at night. Usually we're at a campground somewhere. If we're traveling, we're usually close by the expressway or at the gas station, like the Loves I was telling you about, or we stay at a destination, or we're at like the state parks and places like that. I usually move in RV circles, right? And on the circuit, like different places people stay, as you learn the different state parks, national parks, as you learn the different Army Corps and get a part of the different RV groups. Everybody kind of shares information, and then you kind of plan your route accordingly to that. Um, and even sometimes, you traveling by yourself, if you're feeling some kind of way, stay in a hotel for the night. Pull over and stay the night in a hotel and get up and keep going. You don't just because you have it don't mean you have to sleep in it every single night, especially if you're passing through an area you're not quite sure about and you want to be, in a building and not in the car. So until you get to where you're going. So you always have that option. You can back your camper in, lock the doors, go inside, get you a good night's sleep in a hotel, get shower, get dressed, get you some continental breakfast, and get on the road. So there are options. You're not stuck in the RV because you're traveling in the RV. And so it does help that it's two of us, we kind of, you have each other's back, kind of look out for one another, but you do have that option. And so when we do leave, I'm always thinking like where we're gonna be when the time stops. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know how long we're gonna go today. We might feel like we need to get some miles up under us, so we're gonna keep going, and we'll stop at a rest stop and sleep a couple hours to sunrise and keep going. It depends. There is no like foolproof way to do this. You just have to do what makes sense. Use your common sense and what makes sense. And Sonia, if you're traveling through some place that is too rural for you, get a hotel. Just spend the money, get a hotel till you're comfortable with how you're living, and go that way. It depends. Okay, so if you're by yourself, who you gonna walkie talkie? I mean, like, I'm like, who you gonna talk to, if that's the case. So, as you move into the community, there's lots of boosters and things you can get to kind of help with the Wi-Fi signals and um, Starlink and all that other kind of stuff. So there's things you can have. Sometimes the RV comes with boosters to kind of help get your signal out there. They sell stuff at Camping World and Lazy Days and stuff like that. Join a Facebook group if you haven't already. I'm not quite sure how you found me, whether it was on the Facebook group or not. Put a comment in there and say, "Hey, I'm going to be in such and such an area. How's the Wi-Fi, or how's the phone service in that area?" A lot of the little in Camp Pendium, it'll tell you what this phone service is like. It'll say Verizon none, AT&T 2 bars, or something like that. So it's now when you're setting up and backing up, walkie talkies will help. That'll help a lot. You could talk to the person outside. Um, yep. And well, Margaret, the hotspot only works if the phone works. So you need the phone to work so you could be able to do that. So it depends on what you're using the hotspot for. So if the phone is not getting the signal, period, the hotspot won't work. Now you can go and buy a hotspot, but you need to make sure that it's, you know, without limits. But yes, go in there and ask some questions. Post in there, hey, you guys, I'm thinking about going to this place. And then you need to go knowing that there are places where you will have goose egg connections. We went to Kodachrome State Park. Beautiful place if you want to be off the grid. If you're not working from the camper, you don't need to call anybody for a couple of days, and you don't want to watch TV, that's a perfect campground. Bring some DVDs, some wood for the campfire, and a bike so you can ride around and take all the little different hikes and enjoy yourself, enjoy being off the grid, even though you're not far from the city. But just know when you get back there, there's no cell reception. Like, soon as you go around one of that final curve, it all stops. And sometimes that's what people want. They want the peace and quiet and the cut off from being tied to the phone, tied to the computer. They want the kids to get out and play, so they don't want the TV and all that kind of stuff. And then you have some people that won't stay if there's no Wi-Fi. It's just depending on what you want. And being that you're living camping style, you have to keep in your mind that those are creature comforts that you will not get everywhere you go. If you need to stay constantly connected like that, then you need to be staying strictly at campgrounds, like RV parks and campgrounds. Because even some state parks, like when we went to, we were coming back from Oregon and we stayed at a New Mexico state park. Soon as we got around the curve and into the park, the cell service was extremely shoddy, right? It really only worked at the front entrance gate. And once you got into the park, there was nothing. The TV worked, but cell service didn't work very well. So you're going to have to kind of pick and choose what it is that you're going to need, and then plan to stay in those areas while you need it. And then if you want to let somebody back home know, hey, I'm going to be staying at this park for 2 days, so I'll come out at XYZ time and give you a call and let you know I'm okay. Or if you don't hear from me for 2 days, just know that I'm staying at this park, and when I leave, I'll call you. And so people don't worry. People back home won't be like, I haven't heard from her in 2 days, and I don't know what's going on. She done left here. We can't find her. Just let somebody know. Just stay connected with home. So somebody will always miss you or know what's going on with you, especially if you're going to be traveling by yourself. Just stay connected with home. And so Starlink is what a lot of RVers use that work from their camper, or they want to constantly stay connected to the Wi-Fi, because they have a lot of streaming services, and when they stop and relax, they want to be able to use them. So they get into Starlink, or they work from the camper and they need a Wi-Fi connection because they work, on the computer, stuff like that. So, like I said, you can Google it and it'll pull up information about it. Like Margaret said, you can get a hotspot and use that as well. But when you get into the group, you can kind of ask those generic questions. Hey, what is everybody using for this? Hey, has anybody been over here? What does the cell service work for that? Stuff like that. Yes, Starlink is not for the weak. It is expensive, but every now and then the equipment comes on sale, and then you buy the equipment. But then there's a like a subscription that you have to get as well. So, or something. There's a lot of touring companies out there. Okay, so with that being said, usually like for us, when we bought the RV, Camping World gave us a packet that came with towing, and our insurance also comes with towing, right? So we have those two options. And with you, you have a Class C. So if the house breaks down, it's in the shop. The whole thing is in the shop. So I don't know too much about parts because yours is like part car, part house. So I can see where the parts may be expensive versus ours is more house than car. And so you still have brakes and tires and things like that. But more so your breakdown is going to be the inside, like pipes, tank, fridge, that's more of what we would deal with. Leaks, stuff of that nature. You still have to worry about stuff under the hood as well. So it's always good to have full coverage insurance because you never know what might happen, and it comes with towing. So you get towing through your sale, your purchase, and then you can get towing through your insurance company as well. And so with that being said, the only difference would be if you were 300 miles from the nearest place and they only paid for 100 miles, just know that you're sucking up the other 200, unless you can get one to take where you can get one insurance company to pay for the first 100, and then the other from the RV place to pay for another 100, and then you pay the last 100 bit or whatnot. And usually, like if you buy it from a campground, um, I usually try to stick with ones that are like all over the place. So you have like Lazy Days, which is kind of everywhere, and then you have places like Camping World that are everywhere. So if something happens, there's one somewhere on where you are. Like if something was to happen, there is a Camping World on the West Coast and on the East Coast and the South and the Midwest. So you can get it you can get it taken care of at those different places. When you get it from the mom and pops where you live, that's it. Usually they have to sell you a secondary thing, and then you have to try to haggle with them to kind of help pay for it. So it just depends, and that's always something you could look up and figure that out before you pick it up or after you pick it up. See what's available to you. It's through your insurance is why that's concerned. And insurance is great because the last campground we were at, the trees fell during wintertime and crushed some of these campers. And because they had insurance, they were able to get another one. So you just, it's always good. It's a what's in case, just in case, but the just in case does happen. So you want to make sure that you have that as well. I hope that answered your question, Sonia. I'm trying to keep up with the chat, especially since I can't see it. Um, as soon as it comes up, it goes away, and for some reason, my iPad is restricting my access to be able to join the chat from here. So, oh, there it is. Got it. All right, so let me see if I can find anything. You said you got a Class A. When on the road, is it better to carry cash or only use a card? Okay, now, Sonia, don't ask questions to get you robbed, okay? Let me tell you what my stepfather says. It's always good to have a little cash on hand because you never know. But I usually, have a little bit of both. You have a little bit of cash because sometimes people don't want to, like say you're in a country town and they don't want a credit card, they want cash only. Some campgrounds are cash only. They don't want your, like we stayed in one in Tennessee and it was cash only. So you keep a little bit on you, just a little bit. And then I usually use my cards because if something was to happen, I would lose them. I can lock them. I'm not going to lose all my money. So I will lock my cards and then unlock them when I need to use them. Because when you're traveling, people steal your information. It could be somebody at a campground, it could be somebody at a gas station, it could be somebody at a restaurant, and you don't know it till you get to the next place and check your account, and they done cleaned you out. They done took $200 or $300 of your money. So I usually lock it, online purchases and in person, and then when I need it, I unlock it because I don't want them to be purchasing stuff while I'm asleep. So I lock it. So I keep my stuff on the card just because I know I can lock it. And if it's a credit card, if they steal it, I know they'll put it back, right? And then you keep a little cash for emergencies just in case. But I wouldn't walk around with thousands of dollars in my camper and and nothing in my account. I mean, just you have to be smart about that. Just keep a little bit on hand for emergencies, just in case type stuff, and then if you have cards, lock them and go on about life and act like you po pimping, like you just ain't got it, so they don't think you got it. It says, okay, I was just curious about that. And just in case sometimes, yeah. The goal is to not get robbed and to not put yourself in situations where that's a factor. Like I said, a lot of times when you go to these RV parks, everybody's just there to have a good time. You do have people with sticky fingers, but they're usually trying to steal what you got sitting outside, like if you leave your radio out or your little boom box or stupid stuff. But then that's when you peep your surroundings. You lock up your bikes. You make sure that you secure your items. Nobody's flaunting around any money. Everybody know that people there got a little bit of cash because they moving around and they on vacation. But at the same time, I just wouldn't walk around with thousands and thousands of dollars, packed away in my RV, scared that somebody going to get in there. Just have a little bit for emergencies and lock your cards while you travel. That's like one of the main tips I'm gonna tell you because that's exactly what I do. Yep, that's always helpful. Cameras are always helpful. I mean, it don't stop some thieves, but cameras are always helpful. At least you can see what's going on. So I do not deter you from doing that. Just whatever you think you need to do to keep yourself safe, and just be smart about it. Let me try to see. Now I got the chat up. I'm trying to make sure that if I missed anything that I could answer it. Um, but yeah, for the most part, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat. If you're watching and you haven't gave a thumbs up, I'll appreciate that very, very much. I was a little bored, so I figured I'd do a live tonight because it's I haven't done one for this week yet, and I usually try to do them either on Wednesday or Thursday, and I don't know what day it is. I don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday, so I was like, I'll just do one. I'm not doing anything else, but I love to answer questions. You try to plan for everything, but you can't plan for everything, and you have to let this be an experience that you enjoy and not want to fear the whole time. Just enjoy what you're doing. So, like I said, I can't give you guys any answers right now on what our summer plans look like or what's going to happen just yet. As soon as I know, no, it's not. It is quite easy to do YouTube on the road, to be frankly honest. Well, yes, people do that. They put out two chairs to make it look like it's two people traveling. I knew a lady that traveled with some boots, some men boots, and she would put them outside the door, some men's shoes and lady shoes and two chairs, and she did that everywhere she went, and she was by herself. Now, yes, it's quite easy to do YouTube on the road because people tune in to see what you're doing. So as long as you're traveling and moving around and showing them new things, they will tune in because they're curious. They want to know what you're up to now, what you're doing now, what you're going through now. And you could probably move up pretty quickly. And the more you move around, the more you'll start to meet other YouTubers, because everybody's moving around in the summertime and doing stuff and getting out. And they have like little events, like they just had the one in Arizona that I was trying to get to. And you meet other YouTubers, you can collab and kind of meet them, and they'll introduce you on their channel, and people will go follow you because they saw you on such and such channel. And then as you grow, you can throw somebody else on. So it's not as hard. It's harder when you're sitting still. And I sit still quite a bit, so people don't always want to tune in to see you sitting in the camper and talking to the phone. They have to like really like you. And so when you're moving around and you're getting out and about, that's what they want to see. They want to see what life is like on the road, and what you're seeing now, and what you're doing now, and what experiences you're having. Especially if, like they have some reservations, they have a little bit of fears of certain things, and then they see you out and you're doing stuff, and you're kind of teaching them things and showing them places you can go and showing them your experience. It kind of melts away the fear of wanting to get out and do things, or thinking that they can't do it, or there's nothing there. And then you go there and they're like, oh, I didn't know they had that there. I didn't know, and then they want to travel a little bit, and you kind of inspire them to kind of want to get out of their shell and do something fun. So it is a little bit easier. It's always easier because it's easy content. You could do a video with you packing up and getting ready to move to your other location, but you never film yourself where you currently are. You post that once you leave. So you don't have to worry about anybody showing up where you are and it's like, hey, I just saw you yesterday on YouTube. And then they show up to your space, and not everybody has boundaries. So you post the after you left, and then you just kind of keep like that. So the video comes always after you're gone, and then you come out. So you go and do all these amazing adventures, all these hikes, all this stuff. You get all these videos done, and then you schedule them to come out, one this week, one on that day, one on this day, one on that day, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think it's fairly easy because the content will come easy. I mean, you have everyday content. You just need to kind of plan what you're going to do next, and then just film it. And some people just shoot off the cuff. They just do every day. We woke up this morning and we're getting out of bed, we're going to make coffee, we're going to pack, and they just kind of monologue their day. I'm just not that type. I figure like nobody wants to see me making coffee. They can do that themselves. They want to tune in to see you having some kind of adventure, so they can live vicariously through your experience and maybe plan something like that for themselves. So I like to show stuff when I'm out and doing stuff, or if I learn something and I want to share it with you guys, or I'm doing something to give you an idea so you could be able to do it in your camper or on your trip or whatever, something informational and important. So I don't think it's hard. I don't to answer that question. Okay. Well, if that is all the questions for moi, I guess we'll wrap up tonight's live. It was wonderful. Thank you, Sonia, for showing up, and Doc and Margaret. And whoever else is watching that was pretty silent, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. I am more than happy to answer any questions. I feel like I got a few miles under my belt and I might have something to offer. And I go over a lot of this stuff in my book. So if you want to shoot on over to Amazon, you can pick up the book there, or you can go over to the Patreon page and the book is there as well. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. And like I said, we're only 350 watch time hours away from having the 4,000 we need. And so if you do not mind going over and checking that out and looking at a few of the videos, and even if you're just letting them play in the background, I'll be grateful for those watch time hours so we can finally do our live saying we made it to 4,000 watch time hours, because I want and can't wait to give away those t-shirts for all of you supporters. My first book is called Miles of Memories, and the second one is RVing Right for Me, or Right for You, or whatever. I'll post it in here. It's on the front page. It is in my post. If you go to the home page of this video and go to post, it is most definitely in there, the links to it, and you could just click it. And it's an ebook, so you could just download it, or you can I didn't do it as a hardback, so it's just a download ebook, so I can keep it fairly affordable. When you start getting in the hardback books, it gets more expensive if they got to print it and ship it and all that stuff. So I want you to be able to have it. If you want to become one of the members of Patreon, you'll get both books for free, so you can go over and check out Patreon as well. And all that information is either under on the main page under the about, where I have links and stuff, or it is underneath the post on the main page. All right, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful night. If you're watching this later on tomorrow or later on this week, if you have any questions and I didn't answer it, you could drop it in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to get back to it. If you want to check out some of the places I've been and some of the experiences I've had as a first timer, the first year we went out, you can go back through there. I'll even tell you our route. We went through Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, California, Nevada. So all those, you can check those out. That's our first year route that we took, and I did some videos in there where we learned this stuff for the first time. All right, you guys, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. And like I said, as soon as I know what's going on, I will come on and let you guys know what's going on and what the plans are for the summer. As of right now, I do not know. I know what I want to do. I don't know what's going to happen yet. So I hate to keep you in suspense, because I know everybody's like, well, where are you guys going this summer? What are you going to be doing? Are you going to be traveling? Whatnot? I'll let you know. So hang in there, and we'll see you soon. Bye.